Hey guys, it's Drama King here. How's your day today? Hope it's sunny, and if it's not, don't be upset, as there is always a rainbow after the storm. So today I have some new stories for you, and the first one is a crazy one. It is about entitled OP's ex-husband, who demands OP babysits his child, who he had with guess who? Yes guys, his affair partner. How crazy is that? Enjoy the stories guys, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. My 30 female, ex-husband, 32 male, and I have 2 children, 4 male, 2 female. We've been divorced just about 6 months, and he is now expecting a baby with his new girlfriend. I'm admittedly not over him. We were together 10 years, my entire adulthood. It was and is a messy split. I'm still bitter and hurt about it, and he seems to have completely moved on somehow. When we had our oldest, neither of us wanted him in daycare. No judgment, we just didn't feel comfortable. So I stayed home and eventually started my own business that allows me to work 99% remotely. My parents are also local and retired and help me out as much as they can. This arrangement works for me, and I get to spend time with both of my kids. Now, ex-girlfriend is 5 months pregnant, and they got into a huge fight because she asked him to tour daycares, and he said absolutely not. He wants her to stay home with the baby. None of his kids are to go in daycare. Admittedly, the ones here do suck. He called me to vent, and I listened. Then he dropped the bomb. He asked if I would be willing to take care of their baby, since I'm home with our 2, and get help from my parents. And when I have to take the kids to the office, I can, because I own it. He mentioned that I know how he feels about his kids in one of these daycares, and I sort of lost it on him. It was a 1.5 years of walled-up anger and hurt, and I said some nasty things that I've since apologized for. Fast forward to 3 days later. New girlfriend pulled me to the side when I dropped off my kids to their house and asked why I was so ugly about it, and why I thought my kids were better than hers, and why her baby doesn't deserve the same things mine got. I never said that, but apologized if anything I said came off like that. Told her I'm happy for them. I'm not, but pleasantries. But was certainly not going to babysit their kid. She's a nurse, so I get she can't work from home and doesn't want to give up her career, but they should have thought about that. I left before it blew up again, but ex called me about 2 hours later and asked me to come get the kids because he and new girlfriend were fighting, and he didn't want them around for it. I picked them up, of course, and ex texted me on the drive home and asked again if I would babysit for them for $200 a week. I said no, and he called me a bitter bee and said I'm being an a-hole because I'm hurt. I don't see it this way at all. I reiterated that the request is absurd, and I would not be talking about it anymore. This was yesterday, and all day today, new girlfriend has been texting me and having her friends and family review bomb my business. I'm not worried about it. My clients know my work. Ex-husband hasn't said anything else, but has been shorter with me in our conversations about our kids. So, am I the a-hole for refusing to keep my ex-husband's new baby? Wow, guys, that's just a crazy story. I really don't understand how they can possibly expect OP to watch their children. This is not OP's responsibility. I just wonder, does OP's ex know that OP is still not over him? Because it feels like he could be using OP's feelings for him to guilt OP into this. Also, I think it is time to get a lawyer involved and file with the police for extortion. When OP said she would not care for her child, the affair partner tried to take down OP's business. OP also commented that her ex knows about her feelings. She said she made a stupid mistake right after the divorce was final, right around the time he got new girlfriend pregnant. Ouch. And fell for his regret speech. Apparently they had S. Ouch. And she told him she didn't want this either, and maybe they could work on things and try to start over conversation, up until new girlfriend found out she was pregnant, and he finally told OP about it 2 months ago. She said her heart is broken, but logically, she knows they are done here, and she will get past it. Poor OP. Edit. Update. It looks like Google has flagged the influx of reviews for spam, and I did call my lawyer to see what she recommends going forward. Yes, my ex was cheating with his girlfriend for some time before we divorced. I don't know how long exactly, and don't think I want to know. I'm also a licensed professional, so going against her nursing license is a surefire way to make this worse. Lawyer will advise on how to proceed. I, 39 female, have known for a while that my brother, 41 male, will be getting my mother's house when she passes away. She told me in person that she will have to give the house to him and will have to come up with something for me. I just want to make it clear that I am not waiting for my mother to pass away to get anything of hers, but I am deeply hurt after my mother told me that she will be giving the house to my brother. My brother has been babied his whole life. My mother did not raise him properly, and my dad was never around, as my parents got a divorce when we were very young. My brother lives at home with our mother and stocks grocery shelves at night, and then comes home and plays video games for hours. This is his life 24/7. He does have a degree in school with something to do with computers, but does not want to use it. He doesn't help her with the yard or help clean the house, and every time I ask her why he doesn't help, she always has the same excuse, that he needs to sleep because he has to work the night shift. But every time I stop by, he isn't sleeping. He's playing video games. Hell, he doesn't even wear deodorant, and the whole house stinks of his body odor. I, however, live on my own. I have my own house and a stable job, and my mother feels that since I have my own place, that she has to give my brother her house because he won't have anywhere to go when she's no longer here. But he is 41. He's not disabled. He has $60K in the bank and can go put a down payment on a new place whenever he wants, but he is waiting on inheriting hers. This upsets me because I'm the one who makes sure to get her a birthday gift, a Mother's Day gift, a Christmas gift, even a Valentine's Day gift every year, and my brother will never get her anything. He will not even say Happy Mother's Day. I made multiple attempts to text my brother to ask him to go half with me on a Christmas gift, and he never responds. He doesn't even answer my phone calls. One year, I had to go get her and bring her to the hospital because my brother wouldn't. I even watch her dogs when she goes on vacation because my brother can't be bothered to watch them, and he lives in the house with them. This year, he flew down to see our father and told our dad, which then my father relayed back to me, that when he inherits the house, is going to sell everything in her house and renovate the house so he can move his friends in. Our mother is 62 for reference. I'm just very hurt about the whole situation and don't know how to process it all. Does anyone have any advice on how I should handle this? I understand it's OP's mother's house and she can do with it what she wants, but this would make me feel as unseen and all the hard work I put into the parent-child relationship unappreciated. I'm the type to stop doing all the extras, so that's what I would suggest OP should do in this situation. I, 22 female, have lived in another part of my country from my family for the past 3 years while at school. I paid my own way through a mix of loans and multiple jobs, and when virus hit, it was easier to find work in my uni town than it was to navigate border crossings and self-isolation. Before this, I lived with my father, 50 male, and his family in a very small town. So he was receiving monthly child support payments from my mother. Legally, these payments are required to continue while I am in school, but little of the money actually went to supporting me. The only thing he regularly paid was my phone bill, which I even contributed to at some points. He claimed the rest of the money was being used to maintain my home base. My mom eventually started sending some money to me directly, but he still gets a decent monthly check. I graduated in May and will be moving to a city further away this fall to do my education degree and become a teacher. My original plan for the summer was to sublet from a friend once my lease ended and continue working for a local business. However, that business ended up closing for good, so I needed to change my plans. When I told my father this, I explained that my new plan was to still sublet that apartment and find another job in my uni town. This was because it would be easier to find work without needing a car, and it would allow me to spend the summer with my partner before we go our separate ways for grad school. He got upset and said I had a poor attitude, and that if I was smart, I would move home for the summer to save money on rent. I caved and eventually accepted a job back home. It is a 30-minute drive from my town, but thankfully, I'm able to borrow a car from my aunt as long as I pay for everything. As soon as I accepted the job offer, he told me that he would expect me to contribute to expenses while I lived at home. At first, he asked me to buy some of my own food and personal care items, which I understood, as I use, like, different things. However, this morning as I was leaving for work, he mentioned that on top of this, he would like me to pay rent. The number he suggested was about half my rent at my old place, so it's affordable, but I hate the principle. The whole reason I moved home was because he felt I should save money instead of paying rent. Now, I feel that argument was just him manipulating me to move home. If I had known rent was expected, I would have spent the money I am now paying for the car and gas to live with my partner. This morning I told him I didn't have time to discuss it before work. However, he'll be waiting for an answer when I get home. I don't want to be selfish or greedy, but I also feel that he was being manipulative by not telling me this was expected until after I found a job. Would I be the a-hole if I told him I'm not willing to pay rent, and he should use the money my mom sends him to support me instead? He still gets the money from OP's mom. That pays for OP to live there. He's talking about double dipping, getting money for OP support from OP's mother, and then getting the same amount from OP. In my opinion, OP needs to talk to her mother and tell her what is going on. She should not be giving him any money at this point, and could easily give it to OP so that she could move back to live with her partner. OP's father apparently wants to use her for money as long as he can. First, by taking advantage of her mom, which he is still doing, and now by taking advantage of OP as well. Also, OP commented, "I've mentioned it to her in passing, and while she doesn't think I should have to pay, she doesn't seem to want to fight him. My parents are not on speaking terms, unless they have to be, for something that involves me or my brother. I'm scared that if I try to fight him on this, it'll make this summer even more miserable than it already will be. All my high school friends moved out of our tiny town as soon as we graduated, and my partner and I are now long distance for the first time. We were going to be in a long-distance relationship in September regardless, due to our different school plans. But because I moved home, we've actually been long-distance since the end of April. As most leases here operate year to year, I don't think I'll be able to find something for just the few months before I move that's in range of my summer job." For a long time growing up, I always felt like my mom was my best friend. She was always incredibly fun, but was never actually there for the hard mom stuff. So I always felt like I raised me and my brother while our mom was there to do the fun stuff occasionally. My mom and I's relationship got really rocky when I turned 18 and graduated from school. I was leaving for college, and I noticed she was almost never home. At the time, my brother was 11, so this was really concerning when I would come back from 12-hour shifts and we would have no idea where she was. When I confronted my mom about her absence, she told me to mind my business, and when I started spending more time out of the house with friends and not looking after my brother, she kicked me out for not contributing. We stopped talking and I left for school. I kept in contact with my grandfather and aunt, and my mom made no attempt to be a part of my life after that. About 2 years after that, my brother contacted me and told me that our mom had disappeared and left him alone for 2 weeks with just some dollar menu ramen and 6-month frozen soup. I picked him up and he lived with me while I was in college. I left a note for my mom, but she never called once to try and get him back. This past year, my grandfather's health started to deteriorate. Surprisingly, my mom took to helping take care of him along with my aunt. She also worked on reconnecting with me and my brother. Although we were all still upset over her actions, we slowly forgave her under the circumstances. I had also been helping my grandfather, and he confided in me about his will and how he and my late grandmother planned to allocate the money. He said a while ago that they decided to split it 50-50 between my mom and aunt. He said that at one point, he had considered kicking my mom off for her not being there after my grandmother passed, but said he was happy she was back in our lives again. Well, at one point during a time when both me and my mom were over at my grandfather's place, she asked me to get something out of her car. I was looking through the glove box when I found a pill bottle that had D inside. I confronted my mom alone, and she swore she would stop and that it wasn't serious. I agreed not to tell my grandfather, as long as she promised to stop or get some help. She promised she would, but then 2 weeks later, I found her smoking literally right outside my grandfather's house, hiding under his porch. I immediately went inside and told my grandfather everything. He thanked me for telling him, and we didn't talk about it again. And even my mom didn't know I had told him, until my grandfather passed away and the lawyer read through the will. My grandfather left $5,000 for my mom, and wrote in his will that he had left the rest of her portion, which was a whole lot more than $5,000, to me, for doing her job for her all these years. My mom is livid and has threatened to sue. My aunt is behind me 100% of the way. Edit. My younger brother still lives with me because my mom eventually signed over legal guardianship. As I personally see it, it was OP's grandfather's choice, not OP's. So OP can't be the a-hole. And it makes sense. Grandpa's little note to OP in the will explains that he took into consideration a lifetime of bad behavior when he made his decision. Of course, OP's mother can challenge the will if she wants, but no lawyer will take the case because she can't win. It sounds like a perfectly valid will. My suggestion to OP would be to block his mom and go no contact with her.